Okay, we're just going to hop right into this conversation. Today's video is for the pastor's kid. So if you are the kid of a pastor, minister, elder, tap into this video. If you are currently holding the position of pastor, minister, elder, I want you to clock in as well. It is time for us to have this discussion. It's been a challenge to make this video, so please bear with me. Okay, I would like to start off by sharing the number what I think is the biggest struggle, issue, I don't know, is that pastors' kids, we witness the humanity behind church building and ministry leading. And oftentimes, sometimes that humanity is not very nice. Okay, I love my dad. I love my parents, and I do believe we got some very good folks, in our church and our community. But as a daughter, sometimes, some folks I just want to, put in a headlock. Because, as kids, we see how hard our parents are trying. We know their heart. We know, listen, we hear their prayers, okay? So for the pastor's kids who hear the prayers, who hear the intercession, you see me. We see each other, okay? And so when you see like the imperfections in church building and, honestly, PKs, we really get caught up in the whirlwind of institutional dysfunction. Like it is humans and people, we're not perfect. So of course there's no perfect church out here. And that can really get us my fellow PKs, it can really get us caught up and really get us in our feelings when we see our parents attacked, or when we see things that, hear rumors and gossip that's not true. It could really put a bad taste in our mouth about church and also Christianity. And let me get into the pressure it puts on families as well. Now, my dad, he did not start our church until I was in college. So my story may be a little different. I can even imagine the PKs, like what they go through, the PKs that were born into church, like your dad or mom, whoever was already a pastor. And so you were like born in religion. And yeah, you've probably seen stuff worse than I have. So I really feel for them. And I would love to hear your story as well. But 'cause I know you got a lot to say, but maybe y'all not maybe the people not ready for it. I don't know. Yo, PKs, y'all think they're ready to hear though? I don't know. But I do think it's time to tell that story. And it could be a lot of pressure, no matter like how you've come into the faith or how your parents come have. And unfortunately, because of that pressure and like the dysfunction of church building, PKs, we learn how to, and that's, I don't think it's only PKs, this could be other people too. But rather than initially having that loving encounter with God, those experiences with God, we learn church first. We learn religion first. We learn, like, if you're going to church several times a week, you probably know the routine and that's what you know. But are you truly experiencing the love and the presence of God every day? And that is what's extremely heartbreaking. And I think that is what, can cause some, some bitterness and some like resentment in the PK, is because we know the rules, we know all of that straight away, but our authentic experiences with the Lord may be limited. They may not exist. And you scare me. Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. My son scared me. Okay. So, because we basically, I think PKs, it's easy for us to learn how to put on an act, or the whole thing could just feel like a show, honestly. The whole like church thing and like these events and all of that can just really start to feel like a show. And I think the pastors can. I think we're gifted with a lot of insight. I think we're gifted with discernment, and we get frustrated pretty easily. But we have to like trust God that He gave us that gift for a reason. And because we have that insight, and because we, are front row center with all of this that's involved with churches and faith, is that we, the space, and it doesn't feel safe for us anymore. It doesn't feel safe for the PK to grow, doubt, heal, ask questions in our churches, because we feel like, no, we feel like we're going to be judged. We feel like we're letting people down if we have questions and concerns, if we make mistakes. And so it's really easy for us to fade away. Um, and even some people altogether to walk away from the Christian faith, because, there are communities outside of the church that feel more welcoming, communities outside of the church that feel more genuine. And we got to be real with that. Like, we have to be honest that, church does not always feel genuine. And unfortunately, we connect like, that because the church is like this, that God is like that. And we'd rather, you know, experience that love and that grace and all of that from other sources. And that is just the honest truth. I would like to encourage, my fellow PKs, my fellow pastors' kids, to not fall into the pressure. I really know that was really my thing, is that I felt like I had to look and sound a certain way, and I thought I had to follow the same steps that my parents, took, or that I had to look like them in order to be a true believer, in order to like please God and please people. And I gotta go down my own path. And that's the same for, you know, the same for pastors' kids. You are going to have to go through your own journey and trust that God loves you for who you are. And even if you don't look like your dad, or that you don't preach like your mom, if you're, you know, have a different style altogether, um, that it still honors God and it still brings him glory. I will also encourage the pastor's kid to, you know, have a softened heart and to extend grace. We can, we can get caught up in our pride. Like, we can get caught up in our arrogance because the PK, like, we feel like we've seen it all, we've heard it all, especially if it's been so many years, like in the church or dealing with church folk. It's like, I don't even want to, like, we just don't have a tolerance, and we just feel like, what, I know all this already. And so we start to just really trust our own wisdom. We start to trust our own, like trust ourselves, I guess, in more of in a healthy way, if I can put it like that. And so my prayer is that the PK will have a softened heart for God. Will extend grace to people, and understanding that people are not perfect, because we're not perfect. um Now, for the parent, or for my pastors and my preachers and my elders, okay? If you have kids, I want you to understand that sometimes God has graced you to be a seed planter, and he has graced someone else to be the one to water the seed in your children's life. Pastors, please practice separating family and church, or even separating yourself from God. It can be really trippy for kids. It can really be like a mind confusion when you have what we know with authority figures, when your brain is developing and you have a parent who is trying to be the priest of their household at the same time being the head of a church, and you're trying to disciple your kids. We do not know who God is or what he sounds like. All that we know is that he looks and sounds like you or our mother, whoever it is, and that is not healthy with our own experiences with Christ. I will encourage all pastors to please make sure your kids distinguish that difference, that you are human, you have your own walk and your own relationship with the Lord that you had to go through. You didn't just become a pastor when you woke up. Like, you had a tale, you have a story, it needs to be shared. And the same thing with your kid. But please let them know that there is a difference between the voice of God, the character of God, versus like compared to you. It's not the same at all. Also, um, separating family and church, those worlds, they blend in, especially if you have your kids in church all the time. It can we really can lose, I think. And that's what, um I wonder, like, let me know in the comments if other pastors kids feel the same way. Like, over time you really lose the awe and the wonder of God, because it just all feels mundane and it all feels routine. Like, church and all of that can just feel so, it could just feel so like grueling. Parents, find ways to share the majesty of God with your kids outside of the four walls of church. Travel, experience new people, places, and things. Show them the how indescribable God is. And there's a world that's way bigger than our block, way bigger than our community. And and I think your kids will really enjoy sharing those beautiful moments with you outside of, a church service. And I think my last point is, pastors, like, don't take it to heart when your kids, or when we go through our I guess our journeys that seem disappointing or like shocking. You're like, oh my gosh, my kid is doing what? Please do not be discouraged. Please continue praying for them. Please continue to stay strong in your faith. Like, if you believe in scripture and if you believe in a word, that same God that you believe in, that you worship, is the same God that has got your kid. Like, don't think that it's a reflection of you being a bad parent, or like doing things wrong, or not being strict enough, or not being whatever. We're all trying our best. And now that I'm a mom, I understand a lot more, like, what that this isn't easy, and that my parents were trying their best with what they have. So, like, trust God with your kid. He loves them. He loves them more than you. And it doesn't always mean that, like, you messed up or that you're a bad example for your church. Like, don't believe in that. You're the best example for your church when you show them, like, my family is not perfect, just like your family is not perfect, but we're all gonna, like, believe in God together and try our best to walk this thing out for real. All right. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope this helps someone.